In many conversations, many of us are so intent on trying to convince the other person of our point of view that we are much more focused on communication, on speaking, and much less focused on listening and receptiveness. And of course, the other side perceives that we're doing a lot of talking, and they say, if I don't get it in my point of view, I'm going to get swamped. And so they spend a lot of time talking. And what happens in both interpersonal settings as well as in collective settings is that you have people essentially now talking past each other. There are a lot of people doing a lot of talking, nobody's doing any listening, and you've talked for half an hour or 45 minutes or 2 years, and you haven't gotten any closer. And this is research by Julia Minson at the Harvard Kennedy School and other researchers that basically says one way out of this cycle is, all of us would if you ask people, what would you like? People would say, I wish my partner would listen to me more, right? Everyone says, I wish the other side would listen to me more. Democrats say, I wish Republicans would listen to me. And Republicans say, I wish Democrats would listen to me. Unfortunately, we have very little control in changing how other people behave, right? So we can't get them to listen. But one thing we can do is that we, in fact, can listen. And the idea of conversational receptiveness is to actually ask people their opinions, whether that's a partner, a spouse, a coworker, or a political opponent. Ask them their opinions. And then when they give you their opinions, resist the urge to argue with them. Resist the urge to disabuse them of their views. Resist the urge to call them stupid or foolish or evil. Instead, ask them follow-up questions. Ask them, how did you come to your point of view? Why do you believe that? What are the implications of this? Be curious. In other words, imagine that you're an anthropologist for a moment. You're not a member of a marriage, but you're an anthropologist. And you're trying to understand how this other person came to their point of view. And the idea of this eventually is that if you do this long enough, now it can be very difficult to do this because it might involve holding your breath for a long period of time. But if you do this for a sufficient period of time, the other person essentially goes through this period where they say, I now feel fully heard. And hopefully at this point, something called the norm of reciprocity kicks in, which is that if you do very nice things for me, at some point I feel I need to reciprocate. I need to do something nice for you. And at that point, they might say, well, what do you think? What is your point of view on this? And I think that's the goal of conversational receptiveness, which is to get people to the point where they are asking you, what is it that you think? Most of us are usually volunteering our opinions when those opinions are not solicited, and therefore our opinions are not heard. And really the trick in conversation is not so much to offer an opinion, but to get the other side in a position where they're actually receptive to hearing your opinion.